Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are completely reframing everything you might think you know about Jewish food. Seriously, if your mind immediately jumps to, bagels, lox, or pastrami, you're really only looking at a tiny fraction of the picture. We're going to transform our understanding of this cuisine from a single, uniform monolith into this sprawling, global culinary map. Okay, let's dive right into this. Our guide for this journey is the brilliantly titled Protocols of the Bubbies of Zion, Jewish Recipes from Around the World. And the cover of this book instantly teases the sheer, massive scale of the journey we're about to take. We aren't just talking about Eastern Europe here. We are traveling all the way from the golden chicken soups of Warsaw to the spiced tagines of Marrakesh, and from the stuffed vine leaves of Baghdad straight to the coconut curries of Cochin, India. I really want to start with this incredibly powerful quote right from the text: "Food is memory, food is migration." Because this explainer, actually, scratch that, this isn't just a list of recipes. It's fundamentally a story of human survival. It's a record of trauma, of expulsion, and the incredible, stubborn adaptation of a people who were scattered across the earth, yet managed, in literally every single corner of the globe, to build a table. So here is our flight itinerary for today. The kitchen as world map, the rules that bind Ashkenazi cold climate comfort, Sephardi and Mizrahi spices, beyond the expected, and finally, the modern melting pot. Section 1. The Kitchen as World Map, a 3,000-year diaspora. Imagine for a second literally placing a pin on a globe for every single city where a Jewish family sat down to a Shabbat dinner over the last 2 millennia. You'd run out of pins. The absolutely crucial point here is how these communities adapted. Beginning way back with the Babylonian exile in the 6th century BCE, the diaspora spread everywhere. North Africa, the Ottoman Empire, Poland, India. And everywhere they went, they learned new languages and absorbed local flavors. But, and this is key, they always maintained their core ritual structures. This created a completely unique hybrid cuisine in every port. It means that the stuffed cabbage of Poland and the fragile rice-stuffed vine leaves of Iraq, yeah, they are actually culinary cousins, separated by thousands of miles for sure, but bound by the exact same ancient tradition. Moving on to Section 2, the rules that bind. Creativity through constraint. Now, before we can really taste the food on this map, we kind of have to understand the universal glue holding these wildly different kitchens together. And that's kashrut, this system of Jewish dietary laws. Now, I want you to look at this not as some dry religious lecture or a strict set of limitations, but really as the ultimate creative constraint. In the culinary world, constraints force you to think outside the box, and kashrut birthed incredible, unparalleled culinary innovation. Okay, so here's a super quick breakdown of those rules. You've got permitted animals, a specific humane ritual slaughter called shechta, and most importantly, basar bechalav, the strict separation of meat and dairy. Then there's parev, which are neutral foods, plus Passover restrictions against leavened grains. Just think about what that meat and dairy separation actually means for a cook. If you're serving a meat dinner, you literally cannot use butter or cream in your dessert. This forced bakers to invent brilliant, rich, parev desserts and pastries that rely on other fats. And honestly, it led to techniques that sometimes even outshine their dairy counterparts. Section 3. Ashkenazi. Cold climate comfort and Eastern Europe's ingenuity. So let's travel over to Eastern Europe, where the cuisine was shaped by deep poverty and, frankly, brutal cold. Look, olive trees just don't grow in Poland or Russia, right? Because of that, the Ashkenazi kitchen relies heavily on schmaltz, which is rendered chicken fat, along with hearty root vegetables and these really distinct sweet sour profiles. Now contrast this with the Sephardi exiles down in the warm Mediterranean. They built their meals on rich olive oil, vibrant fresh herbs, and complex sweet savory flavors. It's like night and day. And out of that freezing climate came the absolute icons of the Ashkenazi table. Just imagine the sensory experience of golden ayoik, that simmering, golden chicken soup with its shimmering, schmaltz-rich surface. And of course, you serve it with matzah balls, which brings up basically the most hotly debated controversy in the entire Jewish culinary world. Are you team floaters or team sinkers? You've also got slow-braised beef brisket, the crispy, custardy potato kugel, and those jam-filled crescents of rugelach. It is literally the ultimate comfort food. All right, Section 4, Sephardi and Mizrahi, ancient spices of the Mediterranean and Middle East. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. As we leave the cold European winters for the Middle East, we see something that perfectly proves our whole point today. Jewish law forbids cooking on the Sabbath, right? So how on earth do you have a hot meal on a Saturday afternoon? Well, you invent a stew that can cook incredibly slowly, overnight, on remnant heat. The rules stayed the exact same, but look at how the ingredients completely adapted. The Ashkenazi make cholent with barley and kidney beans, the Sephardi make adafina with chickpeas and whole eggs in the shell, and the Iraqi make tibbet with a whole stuffed chicken buried in spiced basmati rice that forms this amazing crispy crust. Same exact theological concept, entirely different agricultural realities. The flavors in this region, just a total explosion for the senses. We're talking about Moroccan bastilla, which is this shatteringly thin pastry filled with sweet and savory chicken and almonds dusted with cinnamon. Or Yemenite jug, this blazing, hot, fiery green chili and herb condiment that will basically wake up every single taste bud you have. I mean, this is a massive, massive culinary leap from the root vegetables and cold weather food of Eastern Europe. Section 5. Beyond the expected. India and Ethiopia. So, our map stretches way, way further than most people realize. I kind of want to pose this question to you as a bit of a narrative palate cleanser. What actually happens when ancient dietary laws meet the coconut groves of India? Just take a second to imagine that flavor collision. Well, in India, Jewish communities like the B'nai Israel perfectly integrated their strict kosher laws with Konkani coastal flavors. Because coconut milk is parve, meaning it's neutral, not dairy, they could use it to make these unbelievably rich fish and chicken curries, using curry leaves and mustard seeds completely without breaking the rule against mixing meat and dairy. How brilliant is that? Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, the Beta Israel of Ethiopia developed this deeply isolated, biblically rooted cuisine way up high in the mountains. We're talking teff-based injera flatbread and incredibly deeply spiced doro chicken stews. Which brings us to Section 6, the modern melting pot, Israel today. So we finally arrived at our last destination, a place where all these ancient, far-flung diaspora traditions have finally returned to sit at the exact same table. If you walk through a market in modern Israel, you aren't just looking at a single cuisine. You're looking at a dynamic, highly delicious cross-cultural conversation. You've got sabich, which is this incredible street food invented by Iraqi Jewish immigrants who basically just wrapped their traditional Shabbat breakfast into a pita. You have shakshuka, brought over by North African immigrants. And of course, hummus, which represents a deeply rooted shared heritage spanning both Middle Eastern Jewish and local Palestinian Arab traditions. It's just this incredible ingathering of flavors shaped heavily by local roots. I really want to leave you with this one final, powerful thought. Recipes are the ultimate survivors of history. They literally carry the memories, the resilience, and the sheer creativity of 3,000 years of migration right into your kitchen. So the next time you sit down to a family meal, honestly, no matter what your heritage is, ask yourself, what ancient migrations are hidden in the spices on your own plate? Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. See you next time.